Okay, so so what I wanted to talk about tonight is using your time wisely when you do have time to work, right? So like you
Yes.
could have an hour to work and get the stuff done, or you could have a 15-minute pocket here and a 15-minute pocket there and a 5-minute, like when you're sitting in line waiting for Victoria to get in the car when you're not on the phone with me.
Yeah.
It's a good time to do this sort of thing. Like that's kind of, I try to do that, like when I'm, waiting for something, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna send a couple messages or, whatever, just kind of get things like we had a 40-minute drive, a 20-minute drive to church, 20-minute drive back. And I worked on the way up and I worked on the way back. I sent some messages. I checked my back office. I was not driving. I did, got a customer switched over to me.
Drive when you don't have to.
Yes, right. And so I did those when I was on my way to church and back. So I, had these kind of 20-minute pockets of time, and I used them to work my business because, I didn't know how much time I was going to have at the end of the day. So, but I wanted to give like a list of things that you can do or that you should do. And all of these things will move your business forward, to one degree or another. All the activities that you can do, all these activities that you can do are things that the two people who are doing the power hours, this is the stuff that they do. And I'm just going to talk about it. And there's another one on Tuesday and another one on Thursday. Tuesday is at 10 a.m. our time, 10 a.m. Mountain time, so 12 Eastern time. And the other one is at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. So 6 o'clock our time, which is not the best time. But
works for me because I'm not.
Yeah, it does. Well, and you're also done eating so, with your blue plate special. Anyway,
Right.
So, all right. So the first thing when you sit down to do work, like even if it's for the first time in the day, and maybe you only have 10 minutes, but the first thing you should always do is sit down and rewrite your why. Why are you doing this business? And mine has changed drastically over the years. Like my very first why was because I can help people get fit and healthy. And I really thought that's what it was. Like that was what I thought, and it just isn't. And it's changed even.
What is it now?
So now it's
Can I ask that?
You can. I have to find it because I wrote it down, but maybe I wrote it on a different page. Hold please. Hold on. Where did I write that? Oh, here it is. Never mind. To help my family live a financially free life. Financial freedom, basically. But that's not how it started. It started out as trying to help people. But like you listen to all these other coaches talk, and even Carl Deichler one time, and I can't remember where it was a summit or maybe it was a call, I can't remember, but he said, it's not to help people get fit. That's not your why. That's not what gets you up in the morning. It's like, I can't wait to help people get fit. No, you wake up in the morning thinking, I want to be financially free, or I want to put my kid through college, or whatever it is. That's what gets you up in the morning. That's what gets you going. So that's your why. So you spend a little bit of time talking about that. And then we need to have a whole different discussion on this. And I'm going to throw it out there and you can look it up or we can talk about it later. But the other thing that you're supposed to do before you get to work is remind yourself of your avatar. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but your avatar is the person that you most want in your business, like the person you most likely want as a customer, who you're talking to when you're writing a post or doing your stories. Who are you talking to? So,
yeah,
right?
I heard Lindsay talk about that when she writes a post, she thinks of someone her age, where she was. She doesn't think about somebody my age.
Right.
When she's writing a post.
Right. Right.
She thinks about the women her age.
Right. Yeah. So so like mine is women of similar age that are ready for something better, whether it's health, whether it's fitness, whether it's finance. That's my person that I'm looking for. So like when I, when I do my stories, like that's who I'm talking to. I'm not talking to a 22-year-old person.
Right.
You know, and I try to talk like that when I write posts too. So, but before you sit down to work, write your why down, write your avatar down, the person who you're talking to, the person who would be like your perfect business partner or your perfect customer, like who that is. And you write that down every time. And those should take about maybe 2 minutes total, like total. So it's best if you get a timer and time yourself on these things, unless you're like sitting in car line and you know you have 10 minutes. Well, then you know you have 10 minutes, right? Okay, so then you post to Instagram and Facebook. Like if you had an hour and you did it first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Post to Instagram and Facebook. It doesn't have to be different, but don't let, and I know you and I have talked to this, but I'll say it because it's recorded. Don't let your Instagram post to your Facebook. You can cut and paste the exact same text block, but go put it in there yourself. Like,
Yeah.
go in, put the picture in, put the thing in. For some reason, it gets more, and even I think it was Kim Fitzpatrick who did the Power Hour on Tuesday morning. I think she said the same thing. She said, don't do that. You go post it yourself. Takes 2 seconds. You know, once you've created it, it takes 2 seconds.
Okay.
And then go back to the post that you've posted. So go back and look at your Instagram posts, look at the comments and comment on the comments. So if somebody says, oh, that's a beautiful sunset, go back and say, oh my gosh, it was an amazing evening. You know, like, and here's the reason why. One comment gets gets your post in front of a certain number of people. 2 comments gets it in front of a whole bunch more people. 3 comments gets it in front of even more, and so on and so forth. Those comments can come from you. So if somebody posts beautiful sunset and you say, oh my gosh, it was an amazing evening, and the next person says, wow, and then you say, I know, right? You know, like you just keep, so it brings the post back up higher.
I tried to do that with one of yours. It was like one of your sunset posts, you know, and I was trying to post my picture saying right back at you because it was a beautiful photo from my perspective. But I couldn't, and you and I can talk about this later because, you know, I'm not tech savvy. I couldn't get that photo in the comment section to say.
Oh, I'll show you how to do that. On Instagram or on Facebook?
I think it was Facebook. Yeah,
because Facebook's easy. Instagram, it's just comments for the most part. I can show you how to do it. It'll take us 2 seconds. Okay. You'll be like, so that's so comment on the comments. Always do that, okay? And then interact with other people who have liked your stuff and go comment on something of theirs. Okay, so if Jane Smith comments on your picture of Franny, then go to Jane Smith page, find the first picture that the last thing she posted, the most recent thing she posted, and like and comment on that. And then when you post something else, your post is gonna show up in her feed because you liked and commented on something that she did. The only thing I would say, Instagram and Facebook, is number one, don't do it insincerely. So if you don't like it, don't like it. Like if she posts a picture of a hamburger and that's not you, then you don't comment and you don't like it. You find the next one, but don't go too deep in their thing because then it just looks like you're stalking them a little bit. Yeah, you know that. Okay. Okay, so that whole thing, posting, commenting on your comments, and liking and commenting on other people should take you about 7 minutes. Do not spend more time on that than that.
Okay.
Okay, find people to add to your network. And this should take you about 10 minutes. You want to start conversations, look at people's content, and make a connection. and you want it to be on your target market. So something that I do is, and this is something you probably haven't started doing yet just because you're new at Instagram for sure. But in Facebook, it'll give you suggested friends on the right side of your Facebook. If you go ahead and start requesting to be friends with people, and I would do like 10 a day to build your audience. But clearly, you know, if you see a 22-year-old on there, don't pick them. You know, if it's the majority of the people who are going to be in your Facebook list right now are going to be people that you know. It doesn't get to be where people you don't know until like you've maxed out, you know, like all the people that, you know, because it makes the connections for you, you know, and Instagram doesn't. So Instagram doesn't really do that. So on Instagram,
you can use that from Facebook to go onto Instagram, right?
You can, like, you can find somebody. So what I would do is find somebody on Facebook that you know, and then take them, not me, not another Beachbody coach. Take somebody that you know, and then go over to Instagram, find them on Instagram, and then look at their followers, the people who follow them, and follow their followers.
But don't follow them?
Yeah, you follow them too. Usually you have to follow somebody first to be able to see their followers. And they and a lot of people have a private Instagram account, and so you can't see their stuff until you've requested it from them and they've approved you.
Kind of like a friend with request on
Facebook. The public ones, like if somebody has a public profile on Instagram, then you can see their followers right away. Like if you follow them, then you can go see their followers. So then when people start following you back, you go to your likes thing with a little heart on Instagram, and you find somebody that's followed you. I usually go to the bottom of my list of people and say, okay, Tina T Farm followed me. So I'm going to go to her account, I'm going to go to her followers, and I'm going to find people that look like me in terms of my age, and, you know, people with with like teenage and adult children in their pictures, and I'm going to follow them. And you can, on Instagram, you can do loads of them, and Instagram will kick you out. Facebook after a while says, stop. But Instagram, I think you can do like 50 to 75 a day. And depending on how fast you want to grow your Instagram, that's how many people. So I'm not going to tell you how many, but on Facebook, do like 10 a day. On Instagram, at least 10 a day, but you can do, like whatever. So that you should spend about 10 minutes on, because that's making connections and that's building your market. You know? Okay. And then let's see. Go like stuff. Oh, so when people follow you on Instagram or Facebook, when they accept your friend request on Facebook, or they follow you back on Instagram, go to their page and find something that you like on their page and like it. Easy. So if you have 5 new followers today, then you have 5 people that you want to go like something on. It's super easy to do. You're building connections. You're getting people to interact with you, because then when you like something on their page, when you post something, they're going to see your stuff. And then you're starting to build connections together. That should only be a 5-minute thing. And then the big amount of time you should spend on is about, and you can do this once a day, you can do it 3 times a day, whatever, is following up with people. So people who you have either talked to, who have expressed interest in something you're doing, who have, once we start doing free groups again, who've been in our free group and you've offered them, a spot in the challenge group, and just following up with people. And that should take about 15 minutes at that point of an hour. You should spend 15 minutes following up with people, because it's really like the most important thing you do, other than building new connections with new people. So I think a lot of people, that's where they struggle, is follow-ups. They don't necessarily want to spend the time to follow up with people, or it makes them nervous, or they think they're being salesy. But, like sometimes people will, it happens to me, I'm sure it happens to you too. Like you'll send somebody a Facebook message, somebody will send you a Facebook message and you see it, but you're on your horse. And so you're like, oh, I'll get back to that later. And then you totally forget about it. about 90% of people that you message, that will happen to. And it's like at the beginning, you're like, oh, I'm going to take this personally. And now I feel like I've been ghosted and blah, blah, blah. But chances are they just forgot.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll message somebody like 2 or 3 days later. I'll be like, hey, just checking in, see if you have any questions. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you messaged me. I totally forgot to get back to you. And, you know, so that's, and messaging, following up with people can be, you know, in however you follow up with people. So if these are close people to you, like close friends, and you're doing text messages, Facebook messages, Instagram direct messages, whatever it is, or like if you did a poll on one of your stories and somebody responded to it, said, I want more information, that's the time you do that. And then you follow up with them like a couple days later. And there's clearly a lot of ways to do follow-ups, and we can have a whole nother conversation about that. And we can do a whole nother team call about follow-ups, because there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. You can do it pen and paper. You can do it on an Excel spreadsheet. You can do it on the business activity tracker with Beachbody. You can do it on an automated thing. Like there's one called Streak that people use in Gmail. There's one that's specifically designed for Beachbody coaches by a Beachbody coach that's used a lot. And
what do you do?
I am pen and paper.
Yeah, that's kind of me.
I'm sticky notes, and I've got a, I don't have it sitting here, but have a spiral bound notebook that just has names. It's just, there's a lot of other stuff in there too, but there's always a page that has names and check marks and circles. And I have like all these little like signs and haptics for like, you know, what a check mark means, what a circle means, what, you know, what an underline means.
Legend.
Yeah, like a little legend as to what, you know, what that, all those things mean. And then when the page gets too messy, I make a new one. But the cool thing about that is when you make a new page, it jogs your memory about people, you know, and then you can remember, oh yeah, well, the reason why she didn't want to join, I have like a friend from high school who the reason why she wasn't quite ready to join in was because she had a house fire. And she's like, get back to me in a month when I've cleaned up my house, because I totally want to get in. And so I have to make a note on my calendar. But, you know, it's one of those things that you do where you spend 15 minutes. And again, this could be while you're waiting for something, you know, like you have all these little pockets of time that when you start to add them up, they become a really large quantity of time. And it's amazing how much time we could have back if we use some of those. I'm standing in the post office for 12 minutes while the rude post office person loses my package, you know, unless you're talking to somebody, but you know what I mean? So there's all different kinds of ways to, excuse me, I have to follow up with people. Let me look at my phone, you know, but there's just all kinds of little time pockets that you can use to get this stuff done. It doesn't have to be in one sitting. Something that's kind of fun to do, but I think they talked about this and we practiced it and did it, but video messaging people on Facebook, and voice messaging people on Instagram. I voice message people on Instagram all the time. I think voice messaging really conveys who you are, and they can really hear excitement in your voice or sincerity in your voice, where, you know, that doesn't always come across in typing. And then
would that be like in a comment to someone on it? And what do you mean? Like
direct messages and Facebook message.
Okay.
So like Facebook message, you can video message people. Like I did, like when we were doing this Power Hour, I actually did video message 3 people, and they all video messaged me back. It was really neat. So it was cool because it's people that I, you know, wanted to talk to, and I mean, nothing came of it, but it doesn't matter. At least we had a conversation and made connections. One of them was a student's mom, who's on the sailing team with Mason, and we were just, you know, chit-chatting about missing our boys. But, you know, like it's just another connection. And that's kind of what this whole business is about, is making connections with people, not selling people stuff. So it's all about making connections and, you know, and really becoming part of somebody's life. And it's pretty cool when you look at it that way. And when it actually starts happening, you'll be like, this is pretty neat, you know? Okay, stories, doing your stories. So being super consistent about your stories, but really, like, I did my stories tonight all at one time, which isn't always the best thing to do. Like, I will sit and do like 10 of them at one time because I've just collected pictures from my day, and then I'll just post them all at one time. It is not the best thing to do because you get more views if you post them in chunks. So if you post, you know, your workout, and then you post about your lunch, and then you post about your dog walk, and then, you know, in your stories, you actually get more views on them than if you do them all at one time, because people are like, I can't sit there and watch 10 at a time, even though they're only 15 seconds each. But, you know, we have such a short attention span these days. So that's a 5-minute thing. Like, don't spend more time than that. You know, get your stuff, put it together, slap it up on stories, make sure it looks nice, you know, whatever. But it shouldn't take a ton of your time. And I see all these coaches that make videos, like TikTok videos. It's like this video. It's kind of like it's like a social media video thing, but I just can't do it. I'm like, I'm not.
I've heard of it, but I've heard there's some security concerns about it.
It's like, it makes me think a little bit of Snapchat, honestly, although it's nothing like nothing like Snapchat, but the security issues with Snapchat are very similar to those on TikTok. I won't do it. But then there's like all these other people that do, like, I watched a whole 45-minute training the other day on this app called Splice, which is a movie like a editing app for your phone that you edit your videos on. But I'm like, I'm not going to spend 20 minutes editing a video that's, you know, 45 seconds long. I mean, what a waste of time. So I'm not down with that. I'm just like, I make my videos when I work out, and then I shorten them down, and then I post them, plain and simple. So the thing that you want to talk about in your stories, I pretty much talk about the same 5 things all the time. And then I will throw in invitations to challenge groups. I'll throw in a little bit about the business, which I need to do more of because I don't do enough of that, but a little bit about working the business, and then about fitness, and then I talk about animals and food and the usual things. But usually it's my kids, my animals, food, exercise, and that's it. I don't know. My marriage. So that's it.
So let me ask you, you know, we talked the other day about not putting, slapping on your story like a big picture of Shakeology anymore. So, like, when I get my 3-day refresh in, hopefully soon, before I head to Hawaii, like, in my head, I'm thinking, I'd love to post, I'm so glad this is here. But that would mean taking a photo of it.
Not on your wall. Okay, so like the things that you post on it's called a wall on Facebook and a grid on Instagram. But the things that you post that aren't in your stories, okay? And I have to fix something I said earlier. But those things stay there forever unless you delete them, right? Your stories stay active for 24 hours and then they're gone.
Oh, okay.
That's it. The one time, I'm backing up to the beginning of our conversation, the one time when you should allow Instagram to post to Facebook is in your stories, and we set that up on your phone. That part is okay. That doesn't matter. That makes no difference on the algorithm at this point.
If I put a picture of the 3-day refresh, that's cool.
So that's what I was coming back to. I think it's okay in your story. Yes. I think it's fine to put that up there. But you know, like, just like you said, I'm so excited this is here. And then maybe you actually, the next thing is 2 15-second videos about why you're excited it's here and what it's going to do for you. And then you can say, like, what I would do. I would post a picture of it. I'm super excited this is here. I so need this right now. And then the next 2 are why you're excited, why you need it, what it's going to do for you. And then and you and I probably need to go over this, but it's called Create, I think. Yeah, it's called Create. You'll find it if you scroll over where it says like boomerang and all that stuff. You scroll over and it'll say Create, and it's just so you can type, which you may have done already. I don't remember. you can just type things in. So then you would, huh?
Lewis.
Oh, there he is. So you would type, then you would type like, what was I going to say that you would type? You would type something. So you would talk about, oh, that you're going to share your 3-day journey. Like, come back and see what happens every day. And then so the next day you go on.
A before and after picture?
Absolutely. So then your next one would be your before picture. The next, story would be your before picture. And then you can kind of, chronologue how the day's going, like show your breakfast, show your lunch, show your vanilla fresh, show your fiber sweet, show each piece of it. And even do that, like drink it and be like, oh, whatever your genuine reaction to it is important. Like if it's like icky for a second, that's fine, like whatever. It's not a bad thing to say that this one piece of it is kind of gross. But you should talk about that. And then on day 2, you can say you wake up, you take your next picture, you hop on the scale, you're like, wow, okay, this is after 1 day. And you just show, chronologue it each day. And then you can tell people any day, come back tomorrow, I'm going to show you what's going on tomorrow, and people will follow that because they're interested in what this thing is and does it actually work.
Yes.
So that is a great storyline, and that can be your whole story. That can be your whole day's story, is just what's going on in your refresh. I mean, there's a whole group of people right now in the refinery that are doing the ultimate reset, and that's all their stories are about, because you can't really exercise. So their whole thing is about the ultimate reset, what their breakfast looks like, what their snack looks like, what the scale looked like, how they're feeling, like everything about it. There'll be 10 or 12 stories throughout the day just about what's going on in the ultimate reset. So that can just be your thing. I mean, that's like, when you go to an event, like if I go to I go to an event, I go to Disney, then my entire day is going to be about Disney. I go to the beach, well, my entire day is going to be about the beach. So if that's what's consuming your life, then that's what you should be talking about anyway. Not that it consumes your life, but you know what I mean? It's a big part of those 3 days of your life. Right. I mean, it's a big part of those 3 days. So, naturally show people what you're doing. It's not fake. It's exactly what's happening. It's real time. And that's what people like. They like the realism. It's basically, and it does work, but how are people going to know that if you don't have the opportunity to show? Now, what you could post on your grid or your wall on Facebook is a before and after picture of your 3-day refresh. And then when you talk about it in your text, you just don't say 3-day refresh. You say, I did this amazing cleanse, 3 days. I ate vegan. I drank this yummy shake. I, took the fiber sweep, which made me go like this. And these are my results. And then just leave it at that. And then you let people ask you what it is. Or even at the bottom, you can say, if you've watched my stories the last couple of days, then you know what's going on. And then people are like, oh crap, I should have watched your stories. Then they'll go watch your stories because they're like, what am I missing? So, so that's a really good way to go about your day in a story, Okay, so then message your current customers, 5 current customers each day, every day. It just takes like 3 minutes to do that. So when you have customers, you'll message them and just say, hey, you're doing a great job, or I know this is a tough time for you right now, but I'm so glad you're hanging in there, or whatever. Like I go through my challenge group and just go alphabetically and just start down the row and just start saying, you're doing awesome. And it's just a little moment of cheer, and sometimes I do those video message, sometimes I do audio message, sometimes I do written. It depends on who it is, but they like to hear from you. And then it also opens up the avenue for them to ask questions, like, oh, I meant to ask you, I'm done with 21 Day Fix, what do I do next? Or, oh, I meant to ask you, what was that 3-day thing you did? But it gives them an opportunity to ask you questions and for you to get to know them better and to get to understand what they're going through, or you know, just another area where you can help, or not. Maybe they just want to tell you thank you, which also feels good. But every single one of those things will move your business forward. Done together every day, or 4 days a week, or 5 days a week, or however many days you decide you're going to work, if you do all of those things on each of the days that you work, you will undoubtedly move your business forward. You will undoubtedly have people to talk to. You will for sure be able to get people to join you. But you have to do it consistently. Stop it. Off. Yeah, in trouble. So that's really what of course, just done. But that's pretty much in a nutshell what you can do in a day to move your business forward. That doesn't include doing your workout, drinking your shake, eating like a champ, doing your personal development. Those are things that you need to do as well. But in terms of the inviting and talking to people and following up with people, it's like we have 4 vital behaviors: personal development, be a product of the product, invite, and recognize. But now I can't remember, they changed recognize to something else. But the invitation process is really that whole thing right there. It's just a bunch of different ways to invite people. So, that part, that whole power hour really is inviting people. So if you say like, okay, I'm going to work 4 hours a week, or 4 days a week, and you do this power hour, and then you do your personal development. Of course, you do your exercise and your eating and your shake. But that for you and I, that's like something we just do every day, so it doesn't really count.
Right. I mean, that's why this is such a no-brainer, because I'm doing it anyway.
Right. I know. Yeah. And so if you do this power hour once, or let's say 4 times a week, and you do personal development 7 days a week, you're going to move your business forward, period. But really important piece of the puzzle is, and we didn't talk about this in here because this is assuming you already have a list of people, is having a list of people. So
I'm working on that.
I think I've shown you mine. It's like in a spiral bound notebook. And the cool thing about the way that I think I do it, at least in terms of writing it down, is that I can go back, 2 months and go look at the list I had 2 months ago. And like, oh crap, I didn't move that person over to the new list. Whoopsie, forgot about her, and I'll move her over, and then, whatever. But if there's a statistic out there, I think it says that the average number of contact points before somebody joins you, and this is not just Beachbody, this is anything. This is going to Valley Girl and buying a shirt. This is going to whatever. It's just in general. And it's trying new foods. This is it's everything. It's 10 contact points. It's like when you want to try something new, like a new food for a kid, it takes 10 times before you can say, yes, I like it, or no, I don't. And it's the same thing with follow-ups. And it's not everybody takes 10 contact points. I've had people who I don't even know that will be like, yeah, I'm in, let's do it immediately. It's like, how'd that happen? Probably because they've been watching my stories and they've had 10 contact points, or 40 or 50, but I don't know that. But those contact points are very, very important. And so that's where the follow-up and the inviting and all that comes in. And when people say no to you, it's like, just let it bounce off, because that's the number 1 contact point, the number 2, the number 3. And the only time I stop messaging people is when they say, I'm not going to do Beachbody. Then I stop.
Does that happen very often?
Very rarely. Very rarely. I have people who I've talked to for years at a time, no joke, like 2 years, that I keep talking to, that keep saying it's not a good time, or they ghost me for 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. And then they come back all of a sudden, they're like, yeah, I'm gung-ho. And they just go away again. for years. And then all of a sudden they're like, I'm in. You know, and
Yeah, what
unless,
is it? Remember a long time ago they said no just means not
not right now.
now.
And it does. I mean, think about how many things you've said no to that you really didn't
Right.
mean no, never. You just meant this is not a good time, you know, for whatever reason. In your life, like not just Beachbody stuff, but anything, you know.
Right.
How many times you've been like, you know, or you forgot about it, or it came up at a funny time during your day, and then you just spaced out sending a message. Oh, there's Stacy. She's a little late. That's okay. So I'm gonna let you done. That was the meat of what I wanted to talk about. I'm going to stop the recording, and then if you want to go to sleep, you can.